I heard of their interest literally the season before I left Aston Villa.
I'd tapped you up.
No, there's no tapping up. Definitely not. I had heard of the interest, and you hear from your agent talking about the interest, and there was interest from others as well. I'll tell you who did try and tap me up. Stevie tried to tap me up.
Did he?
Yeah, he did. He rang me.
What was his pitch like? Not good enough?
It was like, are you leaving? I was like, yeah, I'm leaving Aston Villa. And it was, I think you should come to Liverpool. And I was like, yeah, I'll come back to you. I'd already spoke to United by that time, and I was already going there, so sorry, Stevie. But, I spoke to Man City as well at the time. But for me, the factor of going to Manchester United was the size of the club, was, as I call the boss now, Sir Alex. It was the pull, and being able to go and sit and speak to him, he was the one that got me to the club. It was everything I wanted to hear to go and play for that.
Where did that happen, that first meeting with Sir Alex?
The Landmark Hotel. And I spoke to him in London. Me and my agent went, and to be honest, the meeting probably lasted about 2 hours. For the first half hour, we spoke about football. For the hour and a half after that, him and my agent spoke about wine and horses. So I was just sat there, just in awe of the man that they were talking.
Well, listen, we hear Gary's on the show. Obviously, we hear all the Ferguson stories about the motivation, the hairdryer treatment, whatever it may be. What was it like from a tactical point of view in terms, you've just said Martin O'Neill just let you go and play. How was Alex Ferguson in terms of sort of how he wanted you to play and what he wanted from you?
He was similar to, like I say, Martin O'Neill, but it was more so the boss's man management skills, how he knew how to keep a whole squad happy. Whereas, there's times where players are not playing, they're unhappy, but he was able to keep the whole squad happy. He would talk to them players, and he would know his teams for the month, and he'd be like, son, listen, put his arm around you and say to you, I need you ready for this game, make sure you're ready. The tactical side of things, we didn't really do too much tactical work. There was only certain games that teams we played against that we would then do tactical work, but it wasn't really needed. We was possessions, it was small-sided games, it was about obviously wanting to work hard, run for each other, fight for each other. Even there was times in games where it could have been 0-0, and we'd get to the 85th minute, and he'd be saying on the sideline, we'd get a chance, and we'd always be able to go on and produce and get that goal.
Would he be the best manager that you played under,
yeah.
would you say?
Yeah. And
why?
I'd say without a doubt, because of the man management skills. He knew his teams, he knew how to deal with every player, whether it was they needed a hairdryer, whether it was they needed an arm around his shoulder.
What did you need?
Just an arm around my shoulder, I think.
I
think there's only two players that didn't get the hairdryer, and that was me and Darren Fletcher. I think it might be other players previous to my time, but yeah, at them times I just knew that, I didn't need tell him what to do. I just need an arm around the shoulder. Right, son, this is what you need to do. And that was it.
Of course you went there because you wanted to win things as well. So tell us about, how it felt as a player, a young man who made that journey to be part of a team that lifted the league title.
It was, words can't really describe it. To be able to have that ambition as a young kid, to think about wanting to play in the Premier League, then to have it to go and actually win the Premier League I'm lost for words for it actually happening. But it was just incredible. The team that we had, the togetherness that was in that squad was sensational. And we made sure that we celebrated it properly as well when we won it for that week after. But it was great.
And that's important. But I said earlier that you played under 5 different Manchester United managers. Did you know when you went there that Sir Alex Ferguson's time might be quite short? Your time with him might be short?
No. And I don't think any of the players knew that it was going to be that short either. We obviously knew that, his wife's sister wasn't well, and I can think back to the day of when he come in the dressing room and, the boss never really had a meeting with us in our dressing room, and he called a meeting and everyone was like, something's not right here. We was driving in and people were talking to each other and we were saying things seem a bit odd. We heard things on radio and whatnot when we was driving in, and when he come in and he explained his reason, of course everyone understood it fully. And, you knew why he was having to step aside. There was how everyone's got that respect for him. There was tears in the dressing room because of obviously him leaving, players have been with him for so long, even players that had just come in. You know, he apologised to a couple of players that had just been signed. It was tough to take. It was tough to handle, but you know, everyone knew the decision why he took it.
And Manchester United have, of course, never won the league title since then. But in your spell, if we just look at the managers that you played under, who did you feel came closest in terms of creating something?
I think that Van Gaal's time was difficult. Straight after the boss leaving, David Moyes coming in, it was going to be tough for any manager coming in, I think. And David Moyes coming from Everton to United, I think that the size of the club was tough. It was going to be tough, like I say, for any manager to come in and take over from the boss, and you know, with what he had achieved at that club, you know, it was going to be difficult. And you know, I think David Moyes did find it extremely difficult when he did come in. I think Van Gaal come in, and he also found times tough. He had his way of dealing with players, which was totally different to, you know, what we'd known before. And you say it didn't work out, but we was able to win a trophy underneath him. Within the way that things panned out, with him being sacked in the way that it went, wasn't right at all.
Did you learn anything? What I mean by that, you've just spoken about Alex Ferguson, talking about his management, keeping a squad together, and Van Gaal comes in who's almost completely different. He's just a coach. And when I speak to Wayne about Van Gaal, he actually speaks quite highly of the stuff he picked up and the stuff he learned. How was it for you?
I think for me it was a bit indifferent, because when he first came in, I wasn't playing. And the training was totally different to what we had known before. It was a lot more tactical. And I think if you look in the games that we played as well, the tactical side of things, if we were getting a point, if we were drawing, he'd be happier with. And you know, the fans didn't like the way we were playing football. We weren't really playing football that the fans had known from before.
They take it now.
Yeah, they would take it now. I think so. Yeah. But it was difficult at times to Van Gaal could set up a team not to lose, and I think at times when, you know, you've played against the big side, you've played against the Liverpools, the Man Cities, and you've gone there to take them on, to beat them, and you go there and you defend him more so, it's you know, it didn't feel right.
Were you excited by Jose Mourinho?
Yeah, I think everyone was really excited by Jose coming in. And you'd seen what he had done in his career. You thought, right, this is an appointment that maybe could have happened years prior to when it did. I say a little bit disappointing as to what was to come.
Why?
I just think you knew Jose from the Chelsea days, and when he went to Real, and then he's come back, and you see the style of football that was being played, and I don't think it was a style of football that, you know, suited the Man United way.
Was that something that the players talked about themselves?
Yeah, of course, players always talk, and you know, like I say, I think it was disappointing, but you know, even then, us as players, you know, we could have taken on a bit more. But I think that, you know, it was difficult for any manager that was going to come in after what the boss's legacy.
But that was a long way down the line by the time it got to Jose. It was,
yeah, and I think there was too much, you know, surrounding the club that was going on, and you know, I think at times there was players that had been bought that, you know, under the boss, it was literally you sink or swim here, and it was difficult times where, you know, I don't think players really gave as much as they could.
Do you see? I mean, it's interesting because we've said tonight about Eric Ten Hag. I think one of your answers was it shouldn't always be on the manager. So I'd like to ask you this. So you go from sort of Ferguson, who's this god legend, but you win the league. So you obviously got a top side, but you drop. I know it's not easy for most, but you drop to 7th, and then it goes 3rd, for wherever it goes. Was there something in the dressing room? You're actually looking at each other as players and thinking, we have to do more than this because we're actually better than this. It can't all be about, oh, Alex Ferguson's not here anymore. Yeah,
and that was exactly what conversations that we were having. But at times, you know, as players, you go out to give your all, but it just wasn't happening. And whether that be, you know, stuff with the manager, whether that be the players, it was, you know, ownership, whatever it is. When you go out on the pitch, you want to give your all, but tactically, maybe it was different. Maybe it wasn't, players weren't running as much, weren't working as hard, and it was difficult. And at them times, like you say, as players, you think to yourself, well, we haven't just become bad players overnight. What's going wrong? And, you know, we could have talked about it non-stop. I think Jose said he said previous that when we finished second, that was one of his greatest achievements. Or we come there and won 2 trophies. So, you know, if that was a greatest achievement, then, you know, I'm not sure.